Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's bar and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Anita if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. Welcome to Elena's bar and the resurgence of sanity. How are you doing, guys?
All right.
As usual, I'm teasing you and getting you all frustrated. So, hey, life is good.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Whatever it is, Steve, you haven't done enough of it.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
What?
Okay.
I haven't done enough, so you mean I should do more? And she's thanking you for saying that? I don't understand.
I don't know that thanking is the right word. See?
What else can I say? Anything I say can and will be used against me by these guys.
We're not as vicious, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
You're the one who wanted to put your nose on the internet.
That's consequences, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Donovan is asking me which email did I send it to. Well, the one I have. Okay, hold on. Let me double check, guys. Yeah, we are supposed to have Donovan Sharpe one. We will at some point. Just let me figure it out. Yes, Steve, you can tell people what we are going to talk about today. About the outline. Tell them everything.
His Gmail account. His real name Gmail account.
Oh, there he is, I think. Okay, cool. Okay, he found. Yeah. Awesome. So there you go. Hello, Donovan. Great to have you back. I don't know if he can hear us. It looks like it's frozen.
He's frozen.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway, guys, today we have a fun topic. I think he found it. Hang on. Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay. So yeah, he knows that he's frozen. Okay. Cool. So let's give him a second. I've prepared an outline for today's live stream because guys told me to, and then it turns out that we're not going to bring it up. Oh.
That was purely for yourself.
Correct.
Yeah,
This was an
right.
exercise for her. And of course, she didn't understand it as such.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that we would follow it. I thought that we would share it with the people. But anyway, yeah,
We
it's
will
frozen
give
again.
we'll give Donovan a second there to sort himself out.
Yeah, but he
Technology
found
is
the
hard.
link. Yeah, he found the link. So yeah, sometimes it does it. Okay, let me try another browser. Okay, he is coming in. So yeah, just. Oh.
All right. Well, while Donovan's trying stuff, Steve,
Let's see.
this is yeah. Don't put him up right away.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that he's
A
going
second.
to be this time. Okay.
So, Steve, this is. I'm not going to say this is your idea. It was your idea to have her do the outline. So, Steve, could you explain why the outline? What was the purpose? What were you hoping she would do with the outline?
Oh, well, she had topics rattling around in her brain, somewhat related, but not fully thought through. It's kind of about how men need to be in charge of things for women's own good. And so I said, okay, she had these topics. Okay, write them down. We'll get 5 of them. Not that we'll get through all 5, but you always want more stuff to talk about than you have time. So you don't run out, you know. And then for each one, put a couple bullet points underneath that describe it. And just provide some structure in her mind that what we're talking about. So she did that. She sent it out, and I said, okay, you know, it's kind of the first one is a first draft, and then we can go through and fine tune it. She thought we were going to use that, but it was more of an exercise for her to process things in her brain. So she sent it out. And it's not how I would do it. It's probably not how a man would do it, because I'd do the topic and then kind of put attributes of it. So for the first one, I'll tell you what the first one is. She's been on this kick for a while. First one is importance of spanking and discipline of women by their men. Okay, I wouldn't have phrased it that way exactly. I had the same thought. The first point under that is all women need to be restrained by their husbands. There's no new information here.
What information did you want me to add there? I mean,
okay, wait a minute. The first one is it's important for a woman to be restrained. And then the second one is all husbands need to restrain their women because it's important. There's no new information. It's restating the same thing twice. This is what needs to happen, and then this is what needs to happen. And it's the same thing. Now, why does it need to happen? So
well, I do show it.
Oh, we can develop that tomorrow. So anyway, she came through with all 5 of these. I said, okay, what is the overriding topic? I don't know. Okay, what ties these together? I don't know. Ideas and solutions. Okay. I said, ideas and solutions to what problem?
Unrestrained women. I mean, come on, we've been talking about it for a while now.
You've been talking about it for a while now.
Yes.
You won't let go of it.
Oh, you didn't know? You didn't take part in this at all? Okay, Donovan says he's restarting his modem, so
Okay, well, just
that will
Well,
help.
here's kind of how it went. Elena knows herself well enough to know that she needs to be restrained. She doesn't always like it at the time, but overall, she knows it's for her own good, and it actually brings her some security.
Mhm.
And then she goes out and watches social media and all these women doing crazy stuff, and it just irks her to no end. And then she gets emotional and says, "Those women over there need to be restrained."
Am I wrong?
No, but that's your motivation. So
I'm
it's
not
not.
just saying those women over there. I'm saying all women everywhere
I know,
need to be restrained.
because you need to be restrained. Okay, fine, that's great insight on yourself. But then seeing other unrestrained women just really gets you going because they irritate you.
well, Steve, she also has this childlike optimism that the world is going to fix itself if only they knew what was good for them. You know, if only these women would just understand that submission and restraint is a good thing, they would submit and allow restraint, and their life.
No,
like,
I'm not saying that. I don't think that women wants to be restrained.
no,
or
no, no, I didn't
even
say that.
understand the benefit of it. They
Uh-huh.
just need to
Right.
be restrained.
You have this, guys.
A God complex. So the 10 Commandments, God gave his people the 10 Commandments, right? And like, it's going to be so well for you if you just follow these 10 simple commandments.
Nick,
Like,
how
here's
good
a
were
place
they
to
at that?
sacrifice because I know you're not going to do it.
Right, yeah. How good were they at following the 10 Commandments?
No, they didn't.
Right.
In fact,
They-
he provided a place for sacrifice because he knew they weren't going to do it.
Right. Everyone
Yeah.
knows that people will not do what's good for them.
Yeah.
And so we have spent probably months now trying to convince Elena that they're not going to do what's good for them.
But hey, if you just keep saying it and explaining it to women, what's good for women, then eventually those women will embrace what's good for them and the world will be a better place, right?
No.
Well, what are you trying to do?
Women need force. They are not going to proactively. Would it be better for them if they proactively gave up their power and were more submissive and, did what they were told by their men? Yeah, sure, but are they going to do it? No. Until they're desperate, they're not going to do anything. We've talked about it. Women need external force.
So who are you trying to convince with your message?
The man?
I don't know. You answered that like a question. I asked the question. Don't say the man.
Well,
Like-
the man needs to.
You don't need to convince men. We've listened to enough women trying to convince us what to do.
Well, exactly. This is why I'm asking, because I can't tell men what they should do. It's not my place.
So you can't teach women because they won't listen to you. It's not your place to teach men, but yet you're out here sending out a message to somebody.
To you guys. you can teach men. I mean, what do you want me to say?
I don't know what. No, it's good to discuss this and let people hear us discuss it. But It's just part of life. Yes, Elena knows she needs to be restrained, and for the most part, she is. But then she goes out there and just creates drama, which all women do, and she kind of shows her lack of restraint at sometimes. So it's just life.
Is it perfect when they are restrained? No.
I think she does the lack of restraint a little on purpose.
Nick. Somebody gets me.
Your life is not that bad, darling.
Oh.
Well, I don't think I'm the worst case.
Well, and see, this is what I always hear well, it could be worse. Right. So what I tell her is, right. So what you're doing is you're setting the bar at all other women, and then right above all other women, and then you tiptoe over the bar. As
Sure, isn't it what all women do? The bar is already so low for them, so they just if they barely pass it, they don't bother with more.
Right. Why would a woman bother with doing more?
Exactly my point.
See, well, and Steve and Nick, and she missed the greater point, which is that if she will only barely clear the bar, what does she expect other women to do who have no interest in even trying to clear the bar?
I don't expect them to do anything. This is why I stopped. I still call out their bullshit because it has to be called out, but I stopped trying to change them.
Why do you get so mad?
Man, well, when they use their kids, like, yeah, there is something to be made there, because they are not just doing damage to themselves. Whatever they choose to do to themselves, it's on their own. But then when their families are involved, they use their kids. This is what really frustrates me.
Yeah,
well, it's okay if you want to be an exhibitionist or a run through whore, it's on you. If you want to be a LARPing tread wife and get all of this attention, fine. Just don't put your tits out there, put your ass out there. Don't use your kids.
See, Elena's behavior makes perfect sense, because I'll use an analogy. Elena and another woman are being chased by a bear. Elena does not have to outrun the bear. All she has to do is outrun the other woman.
Pretty much.
Now you say, no, you chose bear. You have bear.
Exactly. Yeah, you chose bear. You're stuck with the bear.
All right. So
well,
go ahead, Nick.
Oh, so you got the reference, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She did. We've talked about the bear. And it's fun to pick on her, but I will say, for as many words as she has on this topic in public, she has many, many, many more in private. Don't you? She's
fine. Can we move on with the outline, or are we going to?
No, women need restraint.
So you decided to show how restraint works in practice here, so people can watch and implement it.
Oh, you didn't think we'd already started the discussion? Oh, I see what's going on here.
Oh my God.
We've already started on point 1.
Oh.
She missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. The point is, yes, women need to be restrained. So if a man tries and for the most part restrains a woman, does that mean the woman will be restrained naturally? No. And Elena's proof of that. For the most part, she is. But in the details and in public and in creating controversy and drama and getting into trouble online, whatever, she's not always restrained. Her behavior is better than other women. I will say that, though.
See, barely passing doesn't even take that much. I mean,
it's not a matter of barely passing. It's a matter of female nature is what it is. And it can't be, no amount of restraint will change female nature.
Yeah, it's true.
The only way that I could fully restrain her is, well, take her off the internet. Say nope, you can't have any of it. Basically, take away
and
the
some people
phone.
say that you should do that. I've received some comments from egalitarians, mostly on Twitter, who don't like what I post, and they say, "Well, your husband should restrain you better, especially when you're promoting restraint for others." Start with yourself.
To that, you just say, to that, you just respond with "you first." That's a simple response, because I mean, they're telling you to do something that they won't do, and they're telling it to you for craven reasons. They really just want you to they want you to shut yourself up. And this is why I haven't taken you off the internet. It's just letting them get what they want, because they aren't going to. Okay?
Oh yeah, they are not taking themselves off the internet then.
Right. Yeah. So I have decided that you will not be restrained in this manner for the purpose of you being used to counteract them. That is a conscious decision made on my part. And I want men to hear that. And yes, it has side effects. Yes, it does mean that I have to put up with her 2 a.m. Twitter crash outs, and and her moaning endlessly offline about all these women who just won't shut up, and we have to put up with some other things too, like the recent run-in we had with somebody trying to accuse Elena of things that were completely untrue. Right? You have to take some more slings and arrows to do this. And it is not good for women to do this. It's not healthy for them to do this.
Social media is not healthy, period.
Correct.
Anybody, I would say.
But no one else, there are no other women saying this stuff at all. So here she is saying this stuff because somebody needs to say it.
Hey, there's another reason here. Plutarch is doing this for selfish reasons. Let me explain. Plutarch has a very analytical, engineering type, logical mind. He doesn't get highly emotional about most things. Kind of likes a calm existence. And Elena is a woman, and she gets emotional and variable, but if he restrained her to the point where she didn't have an outlet, then she would accuse him of being too boring, and she would be constantly trying to bring in the drama to their personal relationship. So Plutarch wisely has said, oh, you can create your drama over there, but at home, we're not going to have that drama. So it's self-preservation for him.
That hasn't worked out as well as you would hope. There's still plenty of offline drama to be had, guys. Plenty.
Yeah, it's not. Social media is not. It's an addiction for women. I agree that it's not good. It's not good. I wasn't on social media for I don't know how long. Yeah, since we've met, I wasn't even there. I was at some point, but then I deleted all of my accounts. I wasn't active there, and then I saw no point. And then for a very long time, I wasn't doing anything on social media because it's like, it's just stupid, and it's not real. You see the snippet of information that everyone is sharing, even among women. They're like, oh, look, my husband, he bought me flowers. Oh no, my husband is better. So they're just comparing their husband's balls. It's just so stupid, shallow, and retarded. You know what the thread wives are doing? It's just so cartoonish, and everything is fake.
Okay, what she hasn't reached is the overarching meta of this. Women have been doing that in various ways since before history was recorded.
Oh yeah, I know that, but with social media, it's just on display. Everyone can see.
Sure, but you have to figure out how to. Society has to restructure itself every so often around the latest technology thing, and you're never going to have a world where you put technology back in Pandora's box, because you don't put things back in Pandora's box. You figure out how to work around them.
That didn't work out really well for Kodak, did it?
Of course not. You cannot uninvent anything. We're not going to uninvent the internet. Sorry, we're not going to uninvent social media. So instead, we have to do what all men have done throughout history. We invent new ways of ordering society, of restraining not just women, although that too, but also how do we restrain men? Remember, there's a whole justice system out there that's specifically been built over, I don't know, when did the Magna Carta come out? Okay, like 800 years. And it's been specifically built to restrain the worst behavior of men. And there's some pretty bad behavior of men out there too. And we figured out how to order society so that the bad men get caught and, well, if you're British, hung. If you're American, we throw them in prison. I'm starting to think the early British had it right. But that's what you do. You don't put the technology back in the box. It's fun to say, oh, well, just take her cell phone away. That's great until you need her to go somewhere, buy groceries. Oh, take kids to the school, and well, okay, what is she going to do? Not have a cell phone? And when she's on the road?
What if your car breaks
right
in the middle of the road somewhere?
Well, and people will say, oh, but we used to not have cell phones. So what would you do if the car broke in the middle of the road? Well, we had a high trust society. You would knock on somebody's door and ask to borrow their telephone. Before that, you could flag somebody down and just ask for help. We don't have a high trust society anymore, so you can't do those things. So no, she's got to have a cell phone. Well, great. Now she has the internet in the palm of her hand, and she can do two things with that. She can go on social media, which women do, including Elena. I've shared before that one time I looked at her phone, and she had a week where there was no day less than 8 hours of screen usage on her phone, and one day had 13 hours of screen use on it. She doesn't like me talking about this.
It's not.
And so I was like, so do I need to take the phone away? No. I'll be better.
For a few days.
Yeah, for a few days. But of course, the other thing women can do with cell phones is click the buy button, which this woman also does routinely. And every time she does, I ask her, so is this it's become a running joke. So when are you going to stop spending money? Oh, I'm done. I swear I'm done. And then a couple days later, a package shows up. Oh, no. That's a package from before I said I was done. And a couple days later, a package shows up. Oh, no. That's really from that. I'm really done now.
Never ending stream of packages.
And then another one shows up, but I really needed this.
Yep. So what I'm getting at here is when you're dealing with other people, you have to decide, as a man, you have to decide what is the level of restraint that you're willing to impose on a person. And what are you willing to, what are the consequences you're willing to suffer for it? And there is a consequence to imposing, to increasing amounts of restraints, and that is either there's less that they're going to be able to do because you just don't let them do it. And so you have to do it for them. and that's a time thing. That's a trade-off that you as a man can make. But another one is she's going to agitate, and you have to decide how much agitation you want to put up with. Now, if I had a choice, Elena would not. Okay, I do have a choice. My preference would be for Elena to not be doing what she's doing. Okay, but there are so few women out there doing it at all that it's a useful thing for her to do. And so I accept that I have to put up with a ton of emotional crash outs on Twitter that I have to go, well, no, you shouldn't have said that. No, we should restate this. And that's the price I pay for her being online. Look like you want to say something there, Steve.
If you didn't do that, you'd have to pay a different price someplace else in your life.
That's true. But restraint is not and a lot of men, I think, treat it like this. Restraint is not a binary. It's a selector dial. You can crank restraint up to 11. And yeah, I have taken her phone away when she's misbehaved. Okay. And then, I can turn it back down. You can choose how much restraint you want to place on your women. What I would say is that there does need to be some minimum level of restraint. And so if you hear Elena talking about, don't put your children on the internet, I think that's under the minimum.
Yeah, it's the least they can do.
Right. No woman should be allowed to place your children on the internet.
Yeah, I agree.
So there are definitely minimum bars to.
Yeah. In general, the necessity of restraint. We kind of touched on this, but America, the U.S., was set up with restraint of government in mind. We have 3 branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. So they each have different powers and serve a check on each other, theoretically. For instance, only Congress can declare war. The president can't just start a war on his own. Oh, wait. Well, he's got 60 days, but then he has to stop. Well, or maybe he can just close that operation and start a new one. Or, then the judicial. You can't, tells the president, you can't do that. For whatever reason. You can't build that thing. Okay, well, then there's other workarounds. So restraint is necessary in government. Doesn't always work there either. And if you think America, we're the first people who come up with this, bullshit. The Old English method was you had 3 bodies: the king, the executive branch, the nobility, basically the legislative, because they had to support whatever wars. Oh, what was the third one? The church, who had the moral restraint. And actually, when there was one church, Catholic Church in this case, they could excommunicate the king or nobility or whatever, and they had some independent check on the king. And actually, in most cases, the Pope had to approve and coronate the king. So there was checks and balances, and there's always been checks and balances. Well, today, with this modern egalitarianism, women have the idea that there should be no check on what they do, what they decide, their behavior, and then the consequences of their choices. Oh, someone else is responsible. So you displace the blame. Basically, what we're saying is, yes, women need to be restrained too. Of course, men need to be restrained. Men are restrained by government, by laws, by other men. There's restraint is required of every person. But since men and women are not identical, the restraint on them is somewhat different. And somebody has to be in charge. And it's better for the man to be in charge than the woman.
I think history has shown that men are actually better at exercising their own restraint, their own judgment. Women never really have had to, and I don't think they know how.
Well, it looks like Donovan's not getting his technical things worked out.
No,
Maybe he won't be joining us.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him.
Well, it happens sometimes.
Bummer.
So the first point was women need to be restrained by men. And we've kind of gone through the why of that. Because it just doesn't work otherwise. If women are not restrained, society gets awfully wonky. And you won't have peace in your house unless somebody's in charge. And a woman in charge often brings drama into her reign. When a woman rules, she rules by emotions. It's a chaotic existence for the man and for the woman.
Yeah. And they can't regulate themselves. What I often hear women say, well, your man needs maturity. He needs a woman who is stable, who is self-regulative or self-regulated. And I always roll my eyes because, well, this is what the neo-feminists are selling, you know? They know what phrases to use to get men, because men keep hearing, well, you need to find a good woman who does all of these things, and then they just repackage them and then say, well, we are those things. We are those special unicorns that you want. We are mature emotionally. We can regulate ourselves. We bring you peace. We bring you peace. How much peace do I bring to you, darling?
So the thing to understand here is that women do not treat words the way men do. Okay? For a woman, words are, how do I put this? I'm going to use a word here. Words are ephemeral. Okay? They exist in the moment that they are spoken, not before and not after, right? So the word of a woman has no lasting binding on her. There's no lasting, you know, if she said a horrible thing about you 5 minutes ago, well, that was 5 minutes ago. What's your problem? Words do not they don't have any further meaning beyond how she is using them in the moment.
Well, do women have the memory of a dog then?
No.
Well, because it's like, okay, I said it a few minutes ago. Don't react to that. Now I'm feeling differently. Now I'm I'm saying now.
You actually said the correct word. Now I'm feeling differently.
Yeah.
Okay. Words are not tied to any sort of bigger meaning. Words are used to express feelings, the feeling of the moment, right? That's what I mean when I say ephemeral. They exist in the moment, and after that moment has passed, they no longer exist.
Yeah, I look at it similarly. For women, words are a process. For men, words are a definition. So when a man uses words, ideally, in many cases, most cases, he's already thought through that. He's reached a conclusion, so he can make a statement with a definition, and the thought precedes the words coming out with the definition. Women's brains operate differently. She's using words as a process. She hasn't thought it through. She can't think it through silently. She has to talk and go around in circles. And wherever that was, it's a process. And then maybe she'll arrive at someplace. So whatever was said during the process is ephemeral because it doesn't mean anything, because that was during the thinking process, and she's thinking out loud, and she hasn't arrived at the destination. Some women never arrive at the destination, though.
Right, Steve. Now apply that to women on social media. So, and you see this all the time. A woman who was an OF whore 5 minutes ago is now suddenly a reformed Christian trad wife. Well, but that's just, you'll hear them say that. That was just part of the process of her becoming, literally. They just put the period after the word becoming. Well, I'm becoming. Women are always becoming. They're always becoming something new, right? Okay. They have no what happened before never happened.
Well, it's because they don't suffer the consequences of their choices.
Correct.
Like if there were consequences in place that no traditional conservative, these trad wives who are reformed 3 or 4, if they didn't get the husbands, or if they were suffering some serious consequences for their prior bad choices, then maybe they would relate. Maybe.
They actually might, because the reason that men use words with definitions and we think about things is we understand that there is a consequence to us saying those words, right? Women don't. So you have to have the concept of a consequence is required to speak in the public forum. Well, we put cell phones in women's hands and said, here are all the public fora, speak as thou wilt, and they did. And now we are all collectively recoiling in horror at what the women say.
Mm-hmm.
And the great irony of this is the women are recoiling in horror at what they say.
Yeah. Well, guys, just sorry to interrupt here. Donovan says that they are doing maintenance on our internet outside. That's why it's slow to inexistent. I wish they have told us, so they didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got a similar notice for us for next week. So.
Oh my. Okay, so well, if we will reschedule with him, it will have to be like in a few weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it could be a little while because they're.
That's okay.
Guys, it's the summer construction season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of us are going to have to suffer this indignity at some point. But I'd rather they do the maintenance than let it rot.
Yeah, let it rot. Yeah.
Hey, I just looked up something. Does the Bible talk about this? The necessity of restraint? Kind of. Here's. Let me read 2 Timothy 3, verses 1 through 7. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure, more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning, and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Learning. Well, it's like
Never
finding
learning
myself,
and never
finding
able to
myself.
come to knowledge of the truth. That
Yeah.
okay, without all that previous, that kind of describes women,
Yeah.
ever learning
Well,
and
you
never
know,
coming to the solution.
it's
Men too. Men do the same in a different way, but it's there.
it's funny how I'm on my journey of finding myself. Well, what are you looking for? Like the UI who?
Well, no.
Like literally. If they
No, there's a reason why they hide in the journey.
Mm,
See, a journey is supposed to have a destination, right?
yeah.
Let's say that okay, I want to visit my family for the holidays.
Yeah.
This is a common thing, right? But you don't live near your family, so you have to get on an airplane and you have to go to where your family is. Okay. You have to wake up early, go to the airport, insert yourself into the teeming masses of humanity, all trying to do the same thing you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get on the airplane and then you suffer the indignities of the airplane. And then you get off the airplane and you rent your car and you go to your family.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to your family and the journey is over. If the journey's never over, then I never have to arrive at a conclusion. And if I never have to arrive at a conclusion, then I can always reinvent myself. I can always become the next thing. Right? And so that's why you see the Nalas of the world. Well, I was an OnlyFans girl, but that was that was just
well, no, that was part of my experience.
Right, it's part of the journey.
Becoming who I am right now.
Right, and now she's on a Christian kick. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but that'll just be another part of the journey. And the journey never arrives at a conclusion.
You can't be held accountable for getting to the wrong place if you claim you never have arrived. There's
Bingo,
no accountability.
Steve. Bingo. There's no accountability, which ties back to the concept of restraint. So if you do not want any restraint on your life, you can never be held accountable at any point. So that's why they say things like, oh, well, I'm just on my journey. Well, because what they're really trying to say is I haven't reached a point where I can be held accountable for my behavior yet. So, what's the next topic you want to cover?
Okay, let me see here. Well, then I write here, women are the reflection of their men. Good women are made by their fathers and husbands.
Wow. Hey, Steve, how am I doing over here then?
I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I can only imagine how bad Elena would be without you.
Well, thank you. Well, because it's one of those things. As a guy, you do wonder if you are and I do wonder, am I restraining her enough? Do I pull her back, off the phone enough? Because she goes out. I mean, every day, guys, we have a conversation about something she wrote on the internet, and almost always the conversation is, "I wouldn't have done it that way." Going a little far there, don't you think? Some variation of that. So,
and I don't always post. There are days when I don't post anything.
Here's the problem. kind of, when you put things on the internet, they're there. You like cast them in concrete. Your words now are perceived by others as a defining statement, not as a process. So if you misspeak on the internet or are misinterpreted or said something poorly that really is ripe for misinterpretation, you will be held accountable. But then Elena says, well, that's not what I meant. I kind of said it right. Well, yeah, you kind of said it right. In your brain, you had other criteria that modify it. And I can understand, because I've been around you long enough to know how you operate and what you really meant. But other people don't. So women on the internet are creating a record of their thought processes in transition, which leads to all kinds of misinterpretations.
Correct. And frequently I have her go back and edit comments, which is and editing comments is one of those things that can make it look like, oh, well, I didn't really say that. Well, actually you did. I just had you edit it because that wasn't the message that I'm trying to get across. But this also is why women have to go back and claim that they're on a journey. Because, I mean, going back to the Nala example, the internet is forever. She put those pictures of herself on the internet forever. They're not going away. They exist on the hard drive of every man who's ever looked up her content, right? And he can repost those pictures at some later date, even after she's decided that part of her journey's over. And this creates a problem for women because, well, because they don't want that part of their journey to be known anymore. No, because that was the old me. This is the new me. I'm a born again Christian trad wife, content creator. I don't pay attention to what she does, except that I know she's did the whole ho to Jesus pipeline.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But it also creates a problem for men. Internet history is there forever.
Well,
and it can and will be used against you in the future.
I mean, Steve, this and to anybody following, this is why I don't post a lot on Twitter, particularly main posting. I comment more, but I really think about those comments before I write them. Sometimes you get the comment a day after, I had to sleep on the comment. And the thing about Twitter is that Twitter does not encourage this sort of behavior. You've got about 6 hours after a post where the post is running through the mainstream before the algorithm kind of kicks it off the bottom of the stack. But I'd rather have something out there that is well thought out. The consequences of it are mapped out in my head as best I can. I'm not perfect. And, that I understood the both the argument being made by the other person and the argument I'm trying to make. That takes time. You're not going to run to your phone and start shit posting right away if that's what you want to do. But by the same token, I stand by everything I've posted on my Twitter account. And there's some bangers in there, guys. So,
well, the topic today, or title, is female foibles and fixes. Okay, foible is a weakness. And a weakness needs a fix. Women's weakness needs restraint. Of course, men need restraint too. Men oftentimes can practice more self-restraint than women. But men have weaknesses, women have weaknesses. They're similar, but they're not identical. So that's why women need to be restrained. So, Elena, if you had a choice, well, you do have a choice, kind of. You can develop your own internal self-restraint and keep your mouth shut until you've thought through things and restrain yourself and think about the consequences before you do anything. You can do that, and you can develop that skill, and you can impose this self-restraint on, and then you don't need a man. Or you can just live your life, and then when you step over the boundary, this external restraint comes in and says, don't do that, you screwed up. Oh, that one was bad, you're going to get a spanking, whatever. And then tomorrow life goes on. Which one do you want? To develop that restraint inside, or just relax and let someone else restrain you?
It's the second one. It's easier. And I don't have to think about. Well, I mean, like, okay, I do have some internal
Of course you
restraints.
do. I'm not saying you have zero.
I always think about the posts that I make. I always think about the comments that I write. You know, they're not perfect. They're, you know, like, yeah, I could phrase it better or like do certain things. I could think more on the comments, but I'm not just
okay. You know what else you could do?
What?
You could think more before you start posting at all.
Well, yes, I know. That requires a lot of restraint that I don't think I have. A lot of internal restraint. This is why when women say that, okay, we are self-regulated, and based on their posts that they make, and they post like much more than you think. I spent a lot of time on the internet. I spend more time analyzing and watching the behavior. This is true.
Yeah.
But like,
here comes the defense.
I don't actually post as much, you know. I look at how many posts and like videos like other women post. It's just like they're flooding, you know, they are non-stop, you know. And then it's like, okay, like we talk about, like my case is not great.
You're spiraling away here from what the point Steve's trying to make. Okay. The point Steve's trying to make is, would you rather have external restraint or internal restraint? What's easier? What do you want? What's easier? What's, you know?
Well, the second one, the external restraints imposed on them, because then you can relax, and then you can, yeah, if you if you mess up and then you acknowledge that you messed up, you can correct your behavior. I mean, it's easier for women.
Right. So one, it's, you said you don't have the self-restraint, so it's better that your husband restrain you. Yes, that's true. But the real issue is, oh man, it's a lot of work to develop that self-restraint.
It is a lot of work.
And I don't want to do all that work. I'll just let him do it.
I have some self-restraint, but it's not enough.
It's too much work to develop,
and it's too much work. Yeah, and I know that because, like, look, my dad was imposing discipline on me. It's like I've learned how to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do, you know, but they need to be done. But it's a lot of work.
And she missed what she actually said, and this is something that guys need to hear. Her dad imposed restraint on her, and she said, "Oh, well, I learned this and that." But she didn't say what she actually learned. What she actually learned was how to have restraint imposed on her and be okay with it.
Yeah.
There's another way to express this. A restrained woman can actually have more freedom within the restraint than a woman who is forced to, well, self-forced, self-disciplined to develop her own restraint. Man, that seems to be oppressive. You're always having to guard and think and plan for the future and every interaction. Damn, that's a lot of work. How about you just restrain me? And I can have the freedom to do whatever and suffer some mild consequences if I go too far. But then if I go too far, then I can always say, well, can you help me fix this?
Yeah, this is why I don't want to be self-regulated or emotionally mature. I mean, it's based on what I hear, and then you watch their behavior, you watch what they say. They
No,
just throw all of these
No.
words in a what now?
not you don't have the authority to tell other people to tell other women to submit to restraint. You don't have and that's why they look at you and go, no, yeah, and they spurg out because they actually know that you can't tell them what to do.
Well, I know they I can't do anything.
Right.
It's not up to me, what they choose to do.
No, it's up to their men, the men that they have in their lives, and they all have men in their lives, whether they're willing to admit it or not. Anyone who was born has a man somewhere in their family tree.
True, yeah.
Okay. Now, they can reject the authority of that man, and many of them do. But if you don't want restraint, if you don't want to exercise your own restraint, then you have to accept the restraint placed on you by others.
But they would say that they would prefer to exercise their own restraint.
Yeah. No. That doesn't work that way. If you cannot exercise the restraint after telling society that you can, then society must exercise restraint on you. The thing that we have to develop in society right now, and that the reason that women hate the red pill over everything else is because the red pill is where the societal rules, norms, and customs are being generated for the future by which these women will be restrained using the tools of society. That could be cultural tools, that could be legal tools, etc. But like it or not, we have thrown open the doors of society at large to women and welcomed them in when women have never in human history had that kind of access. Okay. As I said, we can't put the technology back in Pandora's box. So society will adapt rules for how to deal with unrestrained women on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And these women will not like these rules. Do you think? Well, I mean, do you think I like, I'm trying to think of an extreme example here. So this is going to be extreme. Do you think the murderer wants to be thrown in jail?
No.
Right. We do that to them for their egregious and their egregious actions. They don't want it, but they have to suffer it for their actions. Okay? That's what's being done here.
So women have to suffer the consequences of
will have to
choices.
The consequences of their behavior on their own. And society will have to come together and decide what the consequences of that behavior will be. And you can actually start to see the shape of that mass of consequences and whatnot starting to form. And women hate it. Well, because just like the murderer hates being thrown in jail or put to death.
Well, see, the problem is that they don't see what they do as egregious or as evil.
Neither does the murderer.
That's a good analogy. I'm going to use it.
Here's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Why are so many marriages failing? Well, one reason is women become dissatisfied and they want to go on a journey. So I'm going to divorce him. She rebels and then they get divorced. She might get cash and prizes. She might not get as much as she wanted. She might get more than she wanted. But then fast forward 10 years, 15 years. She's, oh man, dating sucks. These men out here are terrible. Oh, I can't support myself. Oh, I spent all my money. And then later on in life, they end up alone in box wine and catland. And so there's the consequences. Would they have been better off if they were restrained from doing something so stupid? Basically, frivolous divorce. And how many are frivolous divorces? Oh, but the woman is now out of the restraint of the man. And, you know, in most cases, there will be consequences in her future life caused by herself. She can ignore reality however long she wants, but she cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
Well said, Steve. Reality, but she can't. Yeah, she can't ignore the consequences that are coming.
Right. And society is now developing the corpus of consequences for these behaviors. And as I'm sure that the murderers of old were unhappy about the consequences that were developed for them, the women are unhappy about the consequences that are being developed for them. But no action you take in life is consequence free.
Yeah.
But we have spent all of human history shielding women from consequences up until 100 years ago, let's say. Well, what that means is women are, broadly speaking, unprepared for the idea that there might be consequences. So we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And it's been made worse by the fact that a large portion of that time was spent trying to figure out if there was any way where we could shield them from the consequences. But math has never particularly cared about anyone's feelings, and the bills are starting to stack up. We have a cradle to grave system for support system for women.
And see, the problem is that women are so desperately trying to avoid these consequences, but these consequences are coming either way. And the more they avoid throughout, the more restraint they try to avoid, the more they're going to suffer later. Take little doses, like while you're doing the bad thing. Okay, here is the restraint, like here is the discipline, or the
that's never how it's been. Even no one wants that, even men. You just have to accept that no one wants it, and you just have to start imposing consequences.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be done nicely. If you're looking for nice, that's not an option available to you.
No, I mean, like they could have, instead of getting like the big consequence of like they are leftover women who belong to the streets, right? 20 years later.
No, coulda, woulda, should. No, it actually, in history, it never happens this way. It never happens that way.
But if they were restrained like throughout their lives, if there was a man, if they didn't rebel against male authority and somebody was imposing discipline,
okay, fine, but
probably they wouldn't be, they wouldn't end up like that.
All you're saying is that if we just go back to the way things were, yes, but we're not, because you can't put the technology back in the box. You're trying to argue that.
No, but you say that just embrace the consequences, and you are saying that women need to be restrained.
No, well, okay, yes. What I'm saying is that men aren't going to do it anymore. Society will, as society restrains men. Women are now going to. They wanted equality. Now they're going to get it. Okay, let me take this a different direction to help explain it. Okay. Women have, they've wanted equality with men for a long time. They wanted relational equality. They wanted to, in relationships, they want to be equal, right? I'm an equal person to the man. Okay. Well, now women, as a result of that demand for equality, are suffering the highest rates of singleness that they have ever experienced in human history. They are, you have women endlessly crashing out on TikTok about how they can't find a man. And we say, well, that's because the man you want isn't available to you. And that's true. But it stems from the fact that they were look, men mostly don't, we mostly don't get what we want. Okay. It stems from that reality. Men mostly don't get what we want. Well, women are finding out that mostly you don't get what you want in life. Now, before, when women were restrained, when women were shielded from these consequences, they could ignore them. They didn't know how the man suffered for their life. Do you think that, the guy, we were talking about factory work on Wednesday night. Do you think that the guy coming home from working at the Kodak factory told his wife everything about the backbreaking work he did for 12 hours a day? No. He came home, kissed her, ate dinner, took a shower, went to bed. He didn't unload on her for an hour about how his body felt broken that day.
Or the guy working at the steel plant or wherever. Some jobs are a lot nastier. Did that man ever have an expectation that his life would be great and that he would enjoy his job?
No.
So what's
I gotta go to work. I gotta do it. It's just life. There's no expectation that I'm gonna love my job. There's no expectation it's gonna be easy. There's no expectation that I will be entirely safe. I could get hurt. It's just okay, whatever. I could worry about it. I could complain about it, but that's reality. So how about I just do it? Keep my mouth shut.
So how are women going to bring us back to where you, Plutarch, said that by restraining men, we are going to restrain women. And by
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. What I said is women will be restrained by society as society has restrained men. That's why I brought up the concept of the murder.
They will get their equality.
Oh, they're going to get their equality. So women do have the option to give up their equality. And this is where the women really hate the red pill, because we are offering women an alternative. That's the part they actually hate, is that we offer women the alternative. Give up your equality, submit yourself to a man, and you can go back to the life before under the restraint of a man, or you can continue in life.
But even if you ladies,
you can't have both.
Okay, here, I have to say something. Even if you submit to your man, you're not going to get everything you want.
Well, no, that's the trade. It's a trade. Yeah, we know. Now,
no, it's just like women might be thinking, well, okay, I submit, but then what do I get in return? Will I get cash and prizes and all of the?
No, you get safety, security taken care of, and a general lack of consequences for your actions.
And you'll be better off than if you went at it on your own. Doesn't mean you will be content. Doesn't mean you will be happy. But compared to how discontented and unhappy you will be without that man, your situation here is better. Not perfect.
Well,
but so if you keep looking for perfection, you will run away from good enough.
Well, I would go so far as to say, yeah, your situation will be better in some regards and worse in others. You will not have the freedom that other women around you have. And this is where social media really gets women in trouble, because they see those other women having that freedom, and those women think, oh, well, I could have that freedom too if I just get rid of my husband. Well, yes, but that freedom is going to come with consequence. And so far, we've spent the past 100 years trying this experiment to see if we could architect a world where the society itself shields women from consequences of their actions. and it's not working. And the reason it's not working is because the bills come due at some point. The bills for a lack of consequence come due. They always have for men. And so men built societies over thousands of years that dealt with that made the bills come due, that made men pay their consequences, right? Well, now we have to do the same for women.
So I think we should move on to the next point.
Yeah. Okay. The next
First one was women need to be restrained.
Mm-hmm.
Can you summarize the next point in 2 words?
That's a question for you, Elena.
Oh, you mean the second topic?
Number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 duties.
Yes. 2
Okay.
words.
Submit to your husband.
No, this isn't submit. This is duties.
Do as you're told.
No, it's not that. It's just the simple concept that women have duties.
Oh, well, okay. This is okay. Fine. I didn't understand what you wanted. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that women have duties
Mm-hmm.
is just something women hate to think about. Men, of course, have duties.
Mm-hmm.
Protect, provide, primarily. Oh, be fun. Those are men duties.
Now, I thought her duty
Whoa.
was to tell her husband the way the way he needs to lead her.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's definitely on the list of duties that women want to fulfill.
Uh-huh. And then preach masculinity and tell men how to man up and how to do better and how to serve them better.
Yeah, she thinks it's her duty to tell men what his duties are.
Yeah.
Right.
Good luck with that, ladies.
Yeah, for the record, ladies, that is not on your list of duties. It's in fact, it's a duty that's expressly forbidden.
It
So
is
just-
forbidden. Yeah, it's not your place. I've been calling out women who give men advice on masculinity, and they just double down. They don't see it as a problem. What they are doing.
Well,
Problem.
this is very simple. A woman cannot create a man.
Yeah.
So any woman who's telling any man how to do anything is automatically and forever wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Women can only create at best. Well, no, women can. In terms of talking to men, you can only create defective women.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do. Just so if a female creator out there, if a female doesn't have to be a creator, if a female on the internet is trying to tell men how to do something, you've already failed. And the reason why goes back to what we just spent the past hour on. Women do not live in the same world that men do. Women are desperately seeking to avoid consequences. Women live in the world of journey. And whenever a consequence appears from your current journey path, you just switch to a different journey path and to avoid the consequence. This is not something that will ever be available to men. And women will say, "Oh, but I don't teach men that." You can't help but teach that because you're a woman. You're not built like a man. You don't have the same brain architecture as a man. You literally cannot think in the ways that men think. So you cannot meet a man where he is.
Yeah. This is what I've been telling them, and they just ignore. They keep doing what they are doing.
That's because his brain is defective. It doesn't think like a woman, and she wants to help him get in touch with his feminine side and his emotions so he can better think like a woman. She can fix him to make him not such a Neanderthal, thuggish type man and get in touch with his inner self.
So the first duty of a wife is to not tell the husband what to do.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Your husband tells you what to do.
Yeah.
You don't get to tell him what to do because you don't see the world in a way that is, frankly, I'm going to use this word and they're going to hate it. You don't see the world in a way that's useful to surviving the world.
That's true.
You don't. Now, you can be put out into the world. You can say, oh, well, I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to suffer the consequences of that at every turn. Whether or not, even if society places no consequences on you, you're going to suffer the consequences of it. The consequences are purely unavoidable. So if you're a wife, you do not get to tell your husband how to do anything. You don't get to tell him when to do it. You don't get to tell him how to do it. And if your husband tells you to do something, you do actually have a duty to do it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Now, in exchange, because we have to talk about what the women are getting for this, you get somebody who will take all of those consequences that you women out there are discovering that the world has and that you don't like, and he holds them at bay for you. You don't have to think about all those consequences. Okay?
Well, she will still have to suffer some of them if it's something that extreme that she does.
Typically, when a woman suffers, a wife suffers a consequence, it's because she failed to listen to her husband. Now, I'm not saying that all men are paragons and that,
yeah, but if she failed to listen to her husband, won't the state and church bail her out?
Well, yes, we have set society up to do that, but that society is failing. That design is failing because it was never going to work. You cannot have a consequence-free anything for half of the world's people and expect it to last very long. Because think of consequences like debt, okay?
Yeah.
I can use debt to put off the consequence of my poor financial planning, but eventually I have to pay that debt back with interest.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening to women right now, and they are pissed about it.
Yeah, Darlene, this is exactly the point that I was trying to make earlier, that if they were to take the little consequences and pay it on time,
sure, but they're not going to. But
they wouldn't be suffering the big
we don't train women to do that. We don't train women to do that.
Yeah.
And we never have. I want to make that clear. We have never trained women to behave like that. We train men to behave like that all the time, but we have never once in human history trained women to behave like that.
Hey, Plutarch, do you know or remember the old Fram oil filter commercial on TV?
No,
maybe it was before your time.
Yeah, it's before my time.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I know the name, the Fram name.
Okay. It showed a greasy mechanic in a garage holding up a Fram oil filter. And behind him is a car with the engine torn apart. He's saying, you can pay me now or you can pay me later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We just, Tacticus, welcome back. Great to see you. We just talked about Dave Ramsey. Darlene, do you remember you've mentioned the advice that he gave to the men?
Oh, well, no, that was, you're confusing something.
Oh, there was somebody else. Okay.
Yeah. We haven't talked about him today.
Shaw did a lunch stream on this yesterday.
Yes.
I'll have to watch it.
Go watch it. It's basically this woman was living with a guy. He made 250 grand a year. She was 26 years old, a nurse with 90,000 in debt, student loan debt. And he told her he won't marry her until she's debt free.
Yeah.
So she called into David Ramsey. David Ramsey said, dump the guy because he's expecting you to
pay for your own debt.
Pay for a fee to get married.
What?
And you are a princess and you don't deserve that.
Oh my God. If it was a man who would call in and he was in a similar situation, he would tell him, well, go get an extra job, pay off your debt. Right. The conversation would be completely different.
Dave Ramsey has told many a caller in there. He was just a week ago. He was telling men how they needed to go get pressure washing businesses to pay off their debts, and basically work a second job pressure washing. It's like he had this whole thing about men need to do this, men need to do that. Dave Ramsey is a boomer girl dad simp. I mean, no one in the red pill takes him seriously. Mm-hmm. So. No one who understands men takes him seriously, because, and if you dig into the math on his financial advice, the only reason it works at all is because it's actually terrible financial advice mathematically, but it works. The psychology of how he does it actually works better for most people. It's actually going to cost you money to do what he says, but at least you'll get out of debt. Right. At some point.
Yeah. It's simple. Spend less, save more.
Save more.
Right.
Yeah.
Pay off debt. That's the essence.
Yeah. Why doesn't he have the same advice to women? Because the man doesn't care whether it's a man or a woman.
So the internet has fully triaged this, and the answer is pretty simple. If you're a boomer girl dad, you need a young man to bail out your daughter's debt because you don't want to pay it off yourself. And that's
selfish. That's so
yes,
toxic.
it is. But that's
I did it.
It
wasn't that much, but it's shit. I paid off my ex's student loan debt for a degree she didn't receive. Fucking lies.
My dad paid for my degree, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten one. He paid, he even prepared dowry for me and for my sister too. It's like, I will be curious to see what Shah has to say about it, because in addition to her having this huge debt that she expects her husband to pay off, like, what's your dowry?
Well, yeah,
zero, negative.
She has nothing to offer this man, and he knows that. But the
reason
is
the table.
Yes.
Yeah, I am the dowry.
Yeah, he is
right?
the table. Yes. The reason that Dave Ramsey does this is because the boomer generation, at its heart, and I'm not saying all boomers are like this, but the boomer generation is indescribably selfish. Yeah. And in Dave Ramsey's mind, he should not be responsible. No parent should be responsible for the consequences of their children's choices. And that goes back to somebody who said, I forget who it was. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, boomers they were the most captured by most captured generation in history by feminism." Okay. These go ahead, Steve.
Oh Lord, let them die off faster.
And David Ramsey is an evangelical Christian.
Yes.
Okay, they fully embrace egalitarianism, which is basically feminism under a different name.
Well, that's where his belief system that he should not have to pay his daughter's debts comes from. Even though in the Bible, the father was responsible for the debts of his unmarried children.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Steve?
His unmarried daughters.
His unmarried daughters, correct.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
Well, if she decided to have an agreement and he was not informed of it, he can cancel it.
Well, you can't do that in modern legal systems, but I understand what you're saying.
But
yeah.
The concept is what the Old Testament concept is still true today. It's just
It's
not
nature.
enforced.
It's nature.
Nature. There we right. So even natural law says that Dave Ramsey should be on the hook, and very likely, the reason why Dave Ramsey is pushing this is because I don't know. Our audience may or may not have student loans in their history. Almost universally, the father co-signs on those loans. So he is legally responsible. I guarantee that Dave Ramsey. Now, Dave Ramsey, I'm trying to timeline in my head whether or not he could just pay for his daughters, because his daughter's Rachel Cruz, and he created a whole podcast for her. He might have been able to pay for her student loans, her education out of pocket. But in Dave Ramsey's world, the father is not responsible. Why? Because that's not equal. So it goes back to that.
Well, but if equal, then she should be responsible for her own debt. If we are talking about like pure equality, why the man is responsible?
No,
for that?
the evangelical egalitarians have a strange view of equality. Okay. And it really comes down to, I just don't want to be responsible for anybody other than myself. Okay. And that's equal.
And women should not be held responsible.
Yeah, but then it's not equality.
That's
exactly.
You're thinking too logically for these people here. Don't try to think that way. So Dave Ramsey has now permanently and catastrophically destroyed his brand with anybody younger than the age of about 45, which is probably a good thing, not for him, but for the everyone else under the age of 45.
Yeah.
Men under the age of 45.
Yes.
Not women.
Not women. Yeah, women will listen. Women will listen to his advice, because he tells them what they want to hear. Yeah, men are supposed to man up. Men are supposed to pay off everything.
So, we do need to understand what time it is. And as Nick said, please, will these people shuffle or leave this mortal coil? Because there is no space in reality for this kind of thinking. Yeah. The men have never been biblically, I do not think it would have ever been even considered that a man should take on the debts of a woman incurred prior to marriage. Like that man would expect the father to have taken care of those already, like that. Because that's actually the point of the man walking the woman down the aisle is she is literally being handed off from the care of one man to another in a like literally like, here you go. She's given no chance to be independent.
In most of these cases, the father didn't practice restraint of his daughter. Otherwise, she wouldn't have $100,000 in student debt for a sociology degree.
Oh my gosh.
A worthless degree.
Right. Yes. And that is a failing of the man. And so Dave Ramsey needs a bailout. He needs these women to be bailed out because, one of the comments was meant, boomers, how, it's like, well, how else can they afford their lavish luxury boomer communism?
Mm-hmm.
They need the young men to underwrite it. And so these boomer men loaded up their daughters with debt. And then they even almost.
And then they can
go ahead.
And then they can just flip the switch.
Uh-huh.
And say, oh, I'm out. And then, all this debt I have, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to pay it. Plus, you're paying me now, ex-husband.
Yeah. No, it's and we all sit here and we scratch our heads as to why men don't want to marry these women. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. Oh my, why do men don't want to get married? Gee, I can't figure this out, Mr. Dave Ramsey. Huh? Why does no one want to marry these women anymore? Huh? They should want to. These men should want to. Well, because remember, he comes from the egalitarian mindset of servant leadership.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked about that before.
Slave. Mm-hmm.
Right. You should want to serve her.
Mm-hmm.
She's your wife. You should want to do this service of paying her debt because you love her so much, and she will love you more for paying off her debts. Nick, how'd that work out for you?
Still paying, man. Honestly, I'm just waiting to the day we can take power and put all these evil people on trial and just have them displayed at the front of the courthouse for ages.
I don't know that we'll get the courthouse display, but what I do find interesting is that we're seeing more and more people.
The Vlad display.
I know. I don't think we'll get that. But look at what's happened to Dave Ramsey. He is in the process of destroying I don't know how much it's even worth. Last time I heard his net worth, the worth of his brand was like $250 million, like $250 million. I don't know what it's worth today. The guy is worth an enormous amount of money. He lives in a freaking palace in Nashville, I think. I have seen pictures of his house. It looks like one of those plantation mansions. You know, the guy is worth an enormous amount of money, and he is blowing up his entire empire for over a freaking woman.
Well, but it's also lack of responsibility, and I think you guys talked about it. Stewardship for the upcoming generations. Like, okay, maybe he even did pay off his daughter's debt, the student loan, right? But then, like, the man that she is marrying, he's not responsible for his offsprings, and the offsprings of his daughter. And he's like, okay, fuck it. I got my back, and I'm going to blow it on shit that I want.
No. He had no idea he was going to get this blowback. None at all. No. Okay, guys. One of the things that Elena loves to do is assume that everyone acts intentionally.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people have no idea when they're about to stick their fingers into a meat grinder. None. And Dave Ramsey is the most ignorant of boomers to ever boom. So just, no, he lives in a world that is so coddled and removed from consequence anymore that, he has no idea what he's doing.
He has a boomer evangelical ideology, and he just automatically spouts that, not realizing what trouble it's going to get him in.
And like most evangelicals, he assumes that the rest of the country shares his ideology. That's just something I've seen evangelicals do.
And it did for many, many years. And it worked for many years.
Yeah.
Young men have abandoned that ideology because they realize it's a false ideology.
Well, I'm talking about the concept of stewardship, how historically fathers were thinking about the kids' well-being and the grandchildren and all of that. Now they are so hyper-focused on
don't worry about his children. They'll be he's actually done a good job on that regard.
Okay.
No, his children will be well taken. His grandchildren will be well taken care of.
Well, but it's this hyper-individualism. Okay, I take care of what's mine, then I don't care about anybody else. And...
No. That's the thing that really is that's one of the things that's ticking people off. Is everyone knows he's crazy rich and that his family is taken care of for the next 2 generations, and then he goes out here and spouts some nonsense about how men need to step up and save these princesses. And he literally said, "You're a princess" on that phone call. Like, fucking hell, dude.
I think Elena touched on something here. Maybe Nick can expand on it. I was raised in the evangelical branch of Christianity. So on reflecting of where I came from, I can now observe that the concept of stewardship is really missing in the evangelical Christian world.
Well, they don't care about that. They're all going to get raptured up anyways. Don't you know? This whole world can go to crap.
That's a great point.
Steward what?
What do you need to steward if the world's going to end in 10 years or 5 years or next year?
Like enjoy the decline, kind of.
It's not that. It's literally, I don't have my view of evangelicalism is that it is an ideology of the world is going to end, so it doesn't matter. So get what you can. It doesn't matter. It's a very nihilistic ideology at its core.
The world will end, but I won't have to suffer through that because I have a magic ticket out of the consequences.
Golden ticket. Sorry, I've got the gold.
Right. Yeah, they've got the golden ticket out. Well, no, actually, you don't. So, but egalitarians, but there's also a huge amount of prosperity gospel tied up in this. Egalitarians are huge into the concept of prosperity gospel. So, that's just that you can pray your way to wealth. Now, Dave Ramsey doesn't really do that because he's seen the other side of it and he understands that doesn't actually work. But he had to go through the consequences of it not working. He got blown up in housing back in the I forget exactly when, but he blew himself up in housing, took out way too much debt, got in over his skis, had to declare bankruptcy and lost everything for a few years. So he understands that there's more to this than just pray your way into wealth. But even then, the people in this ideology, they cannot let go of this idea that the future doesn't matter because it's all going to be raptured away anyway. And they just can't let go of it.
This is still under the topic of duties. And what we're talking about here is men failing to do their duty. Stewardship is a duty that a man has. Restraint of his wife and daughters is a duty to a man.
Yeah.
And men are not doing those duties. Women don't have any duties.
And if you do the duty, they could leave you.
Well, it's like duty-free, consequence-free society.
Well, there's a duty. I mean, on Dave Ramsey specifically,
but it's still a duty,
right? And well, what did we say? Is the duty of the father to pay the debts of his daughter, right? Okay. So Dave, why didn't you, according to your own theoretical Christianity, tell this woman that she needs to go get her dad to pay for her debts then? That's the biblical answer, according to the Bible that you claim to believe. Because Dave doesn't actually want that duty. And so the boomer mind is the most feminized mind on the planet. Even the Xers are a less feminized mind, although they certainly love to lean into it where possible. The Zoomers, but the Zoomer men, they're not having any of this. So as a society, we are going to have to move past the feminized mind.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we going to have to move past that? Well, because shit's falling apart. And it's in order to survive, we will require the return of kings. And that kings are men. Women are not kings. A woman will never be a king. Women are queens, but that's as high as they go. No, in the hierarchy, that's as high as they go. Women are always second. There's if you play a card deck, it's king then queen. Always has been. Even in the Bible, it was kings. In all of history, it was kings. Kings held the ultimate authority, even over the queens. That's the only way we survive. This feminized mind is, tactically, it's a dead end. It cannot. The feminized mind cannot handle the future that is coming. So something else will come instead, and it will be the return of kings. But that means the return of men to position of authority over women. Now, that authority will look different, as we were talking about earlier. It will be, okay, you single egalitarian women, you will suffer all the consequences because you did not want to take on the duties of a wife. That's an option now. We have to accept that.
They want the benefits of being a wife.
Well, of course they do.
And
but
security.
Society can no longer afford to give them that. No.
They don't want to give up. They don't want to give up anything.
Well, okay. If I give you a constant stream of, I'm trying to think of what Elena likes in the sugary department. If I gave you a constant stream of chocolate cake,
okay,
for your entire life, you could have chocolate cake whenever you desired. And then when you turned 45, I told you
die from diabetes.
Well, yes, but so as society gives you a constant stream of chocolate cake whenever you want, but when you turn 45, society says you can never have chocolate cake ever again.
I see the psychology of it. Yeah. Must be really frustrating for those women.
Well, that's the consequence.
Who used to have everything they wanted.
Now, what I'm actually speaking, this is an allegory.
I understood that.
I'm actually speaking about women's sexuality and their
well,
sexual
that's
agency.
kind of They used to do what they want to do, and now you tell them you can't do it anymore without suffering the consequences.
No, no, the consequences, you don't get it anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, you don't get it anymore. Yeah.
You're 40 years old and 40 pounds overweight. A single mother with 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And no man wants to wife you up. Sorry, you can't have your cake anymore.
And
right.
And in fact, a lot of men are not even going to date you or be around you because, no, I'm good.
Right. So the consequences come for everyone regardless. That's the debt argument. But if the kings are going to say, well, you didn't want to do wife duties, so we have to take the trough away because society can't afford this. We cannot afford this. This was always a game with an end date.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, and that's why I brought up this visual of cake, right? There's an end date to what how much cake society can afford to give women. Okay. And that end date is rapidly approaching. You know, the U.S. is $40 trillion in debt. And when you go look at it, it's actually pretty simple to see where it went. It went into all of these social safety net programs for women. And that's pretty much it.
Many people have argued that foreign wars sucked up a lot of that.
They didn't help, but,
they didn't help. But
maybe we could just say it this way. You can't have huge social programs at home and be spending money all around the world on whatever.
Yeah, well, so somebody totaled up the 20-year Afghanistan war and the Iraq war, and all told over 20 years, it was $3 trillion. Like that, like they couldn't even get to 1/10 of what we've spent on social service programs. What is it? I think 20 years of Afghanistan gives you, I want to say, 2 years of social welfare. Like that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. These programs are insane. They're killing us. And so they will go away. One way or another, the math demands that they will go away. And so
child support has to go away. The kidnapping of children by our government must go away.
it has to.
The fleecing of men must go away.
Well, Nick, it has to. Why? Because men aren't getting married anymore. They aren't having children anymore. And when men stop getting married and having children, there are no longer levers for the state to pull to take children and money from the man, because he has neither.
I think the state understands how angry a lot of men are.
No, they don't. They don't. No.
How could this end? Gee.
Nick Barnes for dictator.
We got this thing called the Straits of Hormuz. It's closed. We're down anywhere from 10 to 20 million barrels per day of crude oil. The world is hurting. Oh, fertilizer is down. Helium is down because that can't get out. And a bunch of other things. Oh, what's happening in the U.S.? Oh, we're tapping into the strategic petroleum reserve, and we're actually exporting our reserve. So some people claim we're going to be in kind of a severe recession, and it could be worse. It could be a worldwide depression. No, it's not going to be as bad in the U.S. But if all of a sudden the labor force drops because a whole bunch of men and women get laid off, and AI comes in, and that displaces a lot of the women. All of a sudden, men are not going to be earning the money and can't pay their child support, and the government may not be able to borrow more money because no one wants to lend it to us, or they'll just print it, and then we have higher inflation, and so your dollars can buy less. So there are all kinds of scenarios where this could come to an end. You can say, well, that's not going to happen, what Steve just outlined. Maybe not. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying there's a possible way.
Men are already not working, because what are you going to work for?
Yeah, you
right, exactly. Yeah,
you're being replaced by the H-1Bs. Yeah.
Well, even if
and you can't have a family.
Right. Even if none of what Steve says comes true. Let's say that the Strait of Hormuz opens tomorrow. The oil starts flowing and everything goes back. This isn't possible either. But let's say everything goes back to normal tomorrow. Men are already not signing up for this. This is going to happen regardless of what's happening in the wider world. Can the wider world, what's going on in the wild world, make it happen faster? Sure, yes. And that's what Steve is saying. But there is no stopping this. And, I get frustrated with people who, they get up and they say, oh, but, you've got to, like Dave, but you've got to take care of these women. No, I don't. There is no requirement in the Bible for me to take care of these women. None.
See, the argument goes to someone saying this needs to happen. And then someone like Dave Ramsey or the general public say, no, it doesn't need to happen. That would involve hardship. We need to keep paying the bill. We need to keep helping people avoid the consequences. Those two are immaterial. I don't care if it needs to happen. That's not the point. The point is it will happen. You don't have to want it to happen. You don't have to not want it to happen. Certain outcomes are inevitable. Can't predict when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen sooner than later. 5 years ago, I don't know when it's going to happen, but we're now 5 years after that. Yeah, we're closer to that happening than we were 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I get very annoyed with the nothing ever happens crowd, because shut up, guys. Lots of stuff happens. What you're really saying is it's not happening fast enough for you. And Elena and I have this conversation all the time, because she wants women to be restrained since yesterday, and they're not. And it frustrates her, particularly on the internet. Okay. But it is happening. All the crash outs you see of women, where have all the good men gone? They exist. You can't see them because you have all of these Dave Ramsey ideas in your head about how the world works. And you're going to find out real quick that the world doesn't actually work that way. So,
Yeah.
there you go. The world doesn't work that way.
Well, I don't think we're going to get through
Yeah,
much
through
more.
the other ones. We have
But
3
the
more,
point-
but yeah, we can cover them next time.
But the point is, women are really going to suffer the consequences of not having a man around.
Yeah.
So here's the advice to women. They're not going to take it, but women, you need to accept the fact that you need to be restrained. You need to accept the fact that you have duties. Men, you need to recognize that women need to be restrained, and it's your duty to restrain women. Plus, it's your duty to do your other duties.
Yep. And women, having duties is a good thing for you. It gives you purpose in life. It does. It gives you, you know, we treat duty as sort of a 4-letter dirty word, right? I mean, it is a 4-letter word, but we treat it as one of those dirty 4-letter words. Honestly, I like having duties.
I like having them too. The life is more organized and it keeps you like in check, and then yeah.
If nothing else, duties can provide purpose. There is more to purpose, but duties form a baseline of purpose, because those are the things you have to do to keep living. And you want to keep living. That is a purpose. It's a baseline purpose. So you have to do those things. And if you're a woman living by yourself, you have to do all the things. You have to work. You have to pay rent. You have to take care of all the basics that a man would normally take care of for you.
Yeah.
Or you can take on the duties of a wife and not have to worry about those things. The duties of a wife are lighter. They are easier. Elena will tell you, because she has lived on her own and she's lived married. She will tell you that living on her own was harder and more stressful than living married. Am I wrong?
You're right.
There you go. From the
it's the
mouth
opposite for me.
Well, true, Nick. The duties of a wife are lighter duties than the duties of a single woman. They just are. And I find it hysterical that women will intentionally choose to take on the duties of a man and then bitch endlessly about how difficult their life is. And then when offered the chance to take on the yoke of easy, the easy yoke of wife, they go, no, that is so horrible. That is terrible. How could I possibly, I would not be equal. You're correct. You would not be equal. because you are not equally loaded with duties. That's the trade. That's what you give up for that.
Well, it kind of leads us to the next one, but I'm thinking of leaving it for next time. The neo-feminists, they wouldn't mind some superficial wifey duties and
I think that
their husbands. And
I actually, when I read this, I was like, the first two are not what I would talk with Donovan Sharpe about. The last
okay.
three are what I would. So
for the neo-feminists,
neo-feminism, propaganda, and tradcons. Those are the things that I think we should be talking with him about. So we worked through the first two on her list of 5 because those are the reason, and those were the two that you can tell, those are the two that she cares about the most.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about them, but I think Donovan will enjoy the next 3 even more.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, we'll try to schedule with him. He says that, yeah, sounds good in a few weeks when they do maintenance for us so that we don't,
Yeah.
And now Elena can actually be happy because even though she was griping about having to go through all this work and develop 5 points and we're never going to use all 5 and we didn't correct it and all that, she has a whole bunch of stuff to talk about in future streams. So she's already done the work.
Yes, that was good.
Enjoy.
That was good. See, thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, it was sometimes hard. It took me a few hours to like sit on these points and kind of summarize. I'm having trouble summarizing my.
You always have trouble summarizing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll have fun next time. I don't know. Did they say that we have it next week?
Ours is, I think they're starting on Monday.
Okay.
So so guys, we'll see if I'm available on Wednesday or not.
Yeah.
So
who has it Wednesday?
What?
Whose turn is it Wednesday?
I don't know.
Is it mine already?
It could be. It might be.
I think, yeah, it would be.
Well, I'll find something to do.
Yeah. Here we have a comment from Legend Seed. Even the women that want to get married today don't necessarily want to be wives.
That is so true. That is that it's like I would love to keep discussing that because that is point 3 on her list.
Yeah, we will get into this topic next time.
When we can coordinate with Donovan, we will get into this topic, this exact topic that you want to talk about.
They don't want to be wives because a wife means you're restrained by the husband. You're under the authority of a husband. They don't want that. And they don't want any duties. So they want to get married without the restraint or the duties.
They want easy mode on easier mode.
Yes. So we will get into that. There's a whole term that we've developed for that to describe exactly what you're talking about. So next, when we can coordinate with Donovan Sharpe, we will continue with this list. I was actually hoping to run some of these ideas past him, get his thoughts on them. Donovan always has fascinating takes on things. Love chatting with him on this stuff. So there's a lot more red pill truth to come, a lot more red pill knowledge to come here. So
Donovan has a different audience, operates in a different sphere than we do. But whenever we talk to him, we're basically in agreement on most things. And that's the cross-pollination. Touching base with someone with a different type of audience is very helpful and productive.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet did what the internet does today. It's just an unfortunate part of being a streamer, content creator. The internet. And as I said, they need to do their maintenance. They need to take care of things. And hopefully, after they're done with their maintenance, the internet will be even more stable so we don't have to go through this again. So let's let the men working the wires do their job, and we will get back with the remainder of this list for you guys as soon as the men doing the job with their wires are done. So
yeah, and thank you guys for telling me to do this list, because now we have a structure and I love structure. Yeah, we'll cover these topics next time. Remember, what are you doing? Okay, if you can join on Wednesday, what was the plan for Wednesday? Nick will find something.
Nick will find something to talk about.
I'll find something.
Okay.
I'm not sure which direction to go. I'll probably do something church related.
Okay.
Cool.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, well, yeah, great talking to you guys. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, the chat, for today. Very interesting comments. We appreciate you. Tell us what you think. You can leave a comment under the video, okay? And we'll see you all next time, okay? Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
Bye. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. If you are new here or if you're a returning subscriber, we appreciate you. Have you watched Anita Moket's saga by me, your Red Pill Babushka? If you haven't yet, we highly recommend you to watch this mini-series to better understand women, how they think and how they manipulate men. Anita Moket's saga is a comic parody of female nature and female behavior that includes Anita's adventures, her special and unique experiences, and various interactions with other funny characters. I created Anita to pick on female delusions, entitlement and promiscuity, and to show the reality of corrupted by women institutions. The first season shows the process of finding yourself through self-worth, self-love and self-respect meditation retreats and relationship sessions with various female gurus. The second season reveals her godly path to Jesus and her true power over men, femininity.
Hi, I'm Anita Moket. I used to be on OnlyFans, but not anymore. Not after I found Jesus. I'm a trad wife now. I love Jesus. I'm not a feminist. I want a perfect husband with kids because now I feel that it's my true purpose in life to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. Because I deserve a family. I want to be married to the right man. So join our church and wife me up.
I will actually plug Plutarch's wife here. Watch her Anita Moorcat series on just talking about she gives these like acting. She takes on many faces and shows the reality of the church and trying to get men to buy into this traditional tradcon bullshit on wifing up all these fucked up women. There is a large amount of truth in her comedic series that I think men should watch.
I hope that you enjoy our videos. Please tell us what you think about them. We appreciate your feedback. Also, please like the videos. It helps us to build more awareness. And share our videos with your friends and those who need to see them. You never know, but you may save a man's life if he is more aware of female nature. You don't have to say anything when you are sharing our videos. You can just copy and paste them and let the chips fall where they may. Please watch our older live streams on both YouTube channels. You might also enjoy Marry Me Red Pill podcast by your Red Pill Babushka, based on the survey for biological men. It's an ongoing survey that you can participate in. Please share it with other men. The more men participate in this survey, the more statistically significant the results are. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels if you enjoy our content and if you'd like to see more content like this. Join us for interesting discussions with the Resurgence of Sanity guys on Saturdays at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on sBarre YouTube channel and on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific on the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for interesting discussions. Thank you for your feedback and for your kind support. We appreciate you guys.
We are looking forward to seeing you in our other activities as well. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day.